So you just bought your dream home, and now it's time to move. Let's face it, nobody likes to move. All the packing, unpacking, lifting, upstairs, downstairs, and broking everything, including your back. Let the professionals at EJA Moving Company take all the stress and pain out of your move. Competitively priced moving, relocation services, office moves, and complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everybody to make it simple and easy for you to move and relocate. Call EJA Moving Company at 315-335-0516. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. Hit them up online, ejamoving.com.
Want to know what's going on at the D? Hit up DisruptionNetwork.net and check out our events calendar brought to you by the Events Co. Find out about upcoming guests, special events, concerts, show schedules, community activities, and more. Get connected at DisruptionNetwork.net.
Hey guys, what's happening? And welcome back to All Pucked Up, brought to you by MyGarageBar.com and, of course, Disruption Network. I'm getting my everything situated as we're rolling in. Coming in hot today, guys.
Hot mess.
Yeah, hot mess. Exactly. Aren't we always? I feel like whether I have the headphones on sometimes or the microphone's up and I'm talking into nothing. I'm all over the place. Really am. Let's bring you guys in and... there you are. People are going to notice right off the bat, you are not Yoshi.
Not even close.
You are not Yoshi, sir.
Yoshi's a taller and yet handsomer man than I am.
Wow.
And furrier as well.
Yeah, Yoshi is actually out. He got called into work to, I think he's doing like some training or something today.
Yeah, as I said, for the next few weeks.
Next couple of weeks, yeah, he's going to be out. So we have you today, sir.
Exactly, yes.
Straight off of our 3 and Out show.
Yeah.
I figure we don't have a 3 and Out show tomorrow, so bring you in off the bench.
you couldn't keep me away for more than 6 days. That was what it is.
You heard we had beer here, I think is what.
Yeah, and coffee. But there's no alcohol in this. So yeah.
Oh, you're making your own drink, beer fee.
Yeah, pretty much, yes. I was making my own beer flavored coffee here shortly.
It was great because obviously when we come in, Z's always here, and Z goes, "Yeah, guys, there's coffee in there." And Jamie walks in the green room there and then comes walking out with a couple cocktails. Okay, or that.
Or you can go, just go to that route if you want. So
Yeah. So, but I'm glad you could join us.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
We're going to be talking some Washington Capitals in honor of you being here today. So
yes.
That's always good.
That's always fun.
That's going to be a fun conversation.
Yeah, I can see the smirk. For anybody really not paying attention, he's got this ridiculous, we'll say, crap-eating grin going on right now because of a certain outcome that we'll talk about.
I can feel the hatred swelling in you. Yes.
Good.
And, of course, Scott Kinville joining us once again. Listen, if there's ever an example of someone suffering from the old Irish flu, that's the guy right there, man.
Oh, man, that was a rough day yesterday.
Rough Super Bowl, huh?
Well, hey, sometimes you just got to do it.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna.
Hey, why not, right? My team wasn't in it, so all I did was just look for my squares, and of course that didn't fall through either. But
no squares either?
Nothing. Struck out across the board. But what are you going to do?
I got to tell you. So
at least the Chiefs won.
Yes.
Oh.
We had our little soiree, we'll call it, at the Garage Bar. Last day for the Garage Bar, by the way.
Oh yeah, it was a good time too.
We sent the old girl out in class.
Absolutely.
That's a totally different story for a different show.
Exactly.
But so I think we did some squares. Gus won some big money in addition to
watching his team. Yeah, he's a Chiefs
50
fan.
50 years waiting for his team to win, and not only does he get that luxury of having them win, but he also walked away with like $200 and some. So good on him.
Yeah, and the nice part for him, he's not 50, so he basically has had no shot to watch any of this in his entire life.
Very true.
He's I know he's in his 40s, but he's
it's always nice to see like fans that have been waiting for so long for their team to finally do something. I was actually really happy for Andy Reid last night too.
Oh,
absolutely.
Good guy,
absolutely
been there before, fall short. To finally get one, it was nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I should say, we don't actually gamble with money up there. So he won 250 clams.
Yes, exactly.
Charlie Seeley.
Yeah, exactly. So,
And our boy Mick Ross cleaning up on bingo. Walked away with about 120 fish.
You know what's worse about this? Because me and Mick were on the same side of the bar.
Yeah.
So you handed me 2 cards every time, and I kept giving Mick the wrong card. Apparently,
winning card.
The winning card. I was the one who kept passing it over to him. And by the end of the second time that he's like smugly smiling behind me, I'm going back to the 90s of every wrestling move I can possibly drop on him without blowing a hip or something like that. And I was like, spinning DDT is about to happen right now, and it's just like I'm going to murder this kid at this point.
I felt like everybody there was going, I haven't got one number yet. And he's like, I got one left.
I got one left. That second game, he's like, I got 4 already. You've called 4. How can you have all 4 of them?
Right in a row. That guy. Crazy. Anyways, I wanted to ask you guys before we start talking about hockey, obviously, speaking of the big game, remember we racked up a huge total with
it was like 450,000 or something fines that we
can't say that word anymore. But what was your favorite and least favorite from the big game?
From the big
that's
game.
Arguably one of the best parts of the entire day is watching the commercials.
Yeah, especially if you're not interested in the teams, because that was a game that I didn't care who won because I would have been happy either way.
Yeah.
But since we were sitting with Gus, hey Chiefs, let's go with that. I'd say starting with the bad one, the one that was just goofy and stupid was that Progressive one where it's now a restaurant with Flo and Jamie or whatever.
Yeah.
You ruined my namesake there, champ. What the hell's the matter with you? Why'd you do that, Progressive? It was just bizarre. It made no sense, and they were just like serving burgers or something in a restaurant. I didn't get it. It was just
I don't think America
weird. It was weird.
Yeah.
But as far as the best one, I know we talked a few before. I definitely like the Jason Momoa one because that ruined every woman in America and then some. It ruined their night right there.
Every woman in America just cried out. Was like, "What did I just watch?"
Yeah, it's nice for somebody like that, especially. I mean, he's in great shape, and he's definitely a heartthrob. But for him to be able to laugh at himself like was fantastic, and to end it with not being able to lift the bar was outstanding.
Taking off his hair.
Yeah,
that
was an excellent one. Yeah,
Scott, do you remember any of the commercials?
I got to tell you, I'm going to draw an incomplete. But I will say that I miss the old school, like Bud Bowl.
Yeah,
I remember the Bud Bowl. I used to love the Bud Bowl. Right?
Bud Bowl, absolutely.
It's been so long since Budweiser's come out with a great commercial. They've been a real letdown for the past few years.
Even the one last night.
It was like 3. It was there was kind of like a story almost. They did that, and so did like Tide. They did like a story throughout the day where 3 separate commercials came up, and it was like in chronological order. Yeah. They were just weird. Because,
Well, you got to pay attention to commercials. I mean, come on.
Tide was just annoying, and then you get like Mr. Clean for some reason kept popping up in there.
I thought I was hallucinating at that point, but you know what? I guess that was a real thing.
No, it was a real deal, man.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Mr. Clean kept popping up, and I noticed that a lot of the commercials really went for serious this year. There was a lot of commercials in there on this day when everybody's drinking and eating chicken wings and everything else.
Very
They're
heavy.
Going for tear jerkers. And you're like, oh, yeah.
Stop.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Who brought the wet blanket?
Exactly. So. Another one that I liked, but I think went too far. Just one little segment, I guess, too far was that Alexa one with Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah,
and they were like, "What did they do in the past?" And they started going through time with that. I thought that was really funny until it got to the very end. It's like, all right, now it's Nixon. I want to say with the Watergate tapes, so like. All right, one too far. We just reel that back in and stop right there.
Yeah, when they were like, a witch stole his pants, that was all right.
That was okay, but the one right before that was the 2 guys on the, in the Old West on the carriage there. And he's like, play my favorite song, and he blows into a jug. I'm like, that's great. Yeah. Next track.
That one was good, and of course the Groundhog Day one was
absolutely
phenomenal.
Bill Murray wins.
Yeah.
He's
talking about the Groundhog. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter.
Good doesn't even matter. That was good. Yeah.
And real quick, how did we like the halftime show? Yes, yay, nay, thumbs down.
I don't care for their music, so
I fucking love it because how could you not love 200 Brazilian chicks shaking their ass?
There you go.
Okay, so for anybody who didn't
Well-
hear that, Z's in the background saying you have to love 200 Brazilian chicks shaking their ass.
Yes.
So he's absolutely correct on that. For every man in America doesn't know what happened, from a audio standpoint.
Yeah, because I had no idea what songs they were singing.
Yeah.
No clue
Yeah.
whatsoever. Yeah.
Yeah, every man across America went, yes,
Yes.
yes, talent, yes. I don't know what they were saying.
I don't
but,
know what happened.
I don't know what the songs were. I know nothing about it. But
Yeah, my wife's like, "Oh, there's Jenny from the block." I'm like, "What?"
I heard there was a wardrobe malfunction last night. Did I hear that right?
Everybody's really.
I read that it actually happened.
I'm going to go back and watch that later.
Yeah, somebody said that Shakira her cha-cha came flying out.
Okay, so I know where I got to go. I got to go home for a bit. I'll see you later. I'm going to go watch that that halftime show.
Yeah, Jamie just added that to the old erection click.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, moving right along.
Yeah. And we're off the rails already.
Sitting
All
next to
right.
him,
The
please.
numbers just dropped.
Yeah.
Let's talk hockey. That's
There
what
we
we're
go.
here
That's
for,
why
right?
we're here.
What do you guys want to talk? Let's talk about Washington first, because I can't contain myself. Really.
Well, we should preface this by saying
Yeah.
we were going to talk about the Rangers this week.
Yes,
but
yes.
that'll be another day, another
day.
time.
Yeah, the Rangers, you will get your day. I promise you. You're going to get your day. We wanted Yoshi to be here, and obviously with him out for 2 weeks, we're going to put that whole conversation on the shelf.
Which makes sense.
Yoshi's on IR.
Yeah, it makes sense. So he's the big Ranger guy here, So
Yeah, he's the only Ranger guy here. Well, no, Z is a
Yeah.
Ranger guy.
I was going to say you can find at least 175,000 other Ranger guys around this area to sub in if you really had to. So
Just open the door and yell out Ranger.
yeah, pretty much.
Running. So
Yeah.
But and there's Travis joining in right now. Speak of Rangers fans.
there you go.
See? They're not hard to find. Anyways, that we'll talk about that another day. For right now, in honor of Jamie, who's here with his hat, his shirt, and everything else.
And the phone case. Yeah,
the phone case.
I'm a psycho.
The Washington Capitals,
Yes.
and your team, probably one of the favorites so far to win the whole thing, the
Yep.
Cup. Can we say the Stanley Cup?
We'll just add the fines to the ones we owe to the NFL.
You can say
Yeah,
that, right? They
yeah.
haven't gone the way of the other big game, right?
Yeah,
Nah.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, it makes me feel good at least
Yeah.
with some things in life.
Yeah.
So the Stanley Cup, they're obviously like one of the odds-on
Yes.
favorites to win the Cup, and I know you're happy about that. Big contract, right? Backstrom just signed himself a big contract.
Oh yeah, and the nice part about that, it was friendly. Like, if you really look at any of the numbers, you would think a guy like Backstrom, he's hitting the back end. We'll say the back end of the career. Hockey players usually go a little longer, as far as it goes. But he's wrapped up through most of his 30s, and then on top of that, he probably could have commanded more money if he just wanted money on the open market by the end of the year, I'd say. But instead, he just went, no, I'm going to stay in Washington, take the team-friendly deal. And that was more impressive with a cap-strapped Capitals team, because that's a team that they don't have two nickels to rub together at this point, as far as free space.
Right.
So for them to finagle all this with the contracts they're already paying to, like, TJ Oshie and Evgeny Kuznetsov, John Carlson got the huge payday. I was surprised. And it's, also massively happy with that, because you're keeping a core of that, those first and second lines straight together for years and years. So this is a team that's not going anywhere anytime soon either.
Now let me stop the happiness train right there. And
I got to disagree with the team friendly bit on that one. I think they massively overpaid on Backstrom. I'm sorry.
Okay.
He's 32 years old.
Yes.
You just handed him 5 years
Yes.
at $9.6 million per against your cap. I get he's a core piece. I understand that. But look at all the great teams that have come through in the salary cap era. You take the Hawks, you take the Kings, teams that hung on for too long to their star players, overpaid them, overextended them, and what happens in the salary cap era? You're bound to be Humpty Dumpty and take that fall off the wall. If I were the Capitals, I would have been much more comfortable with a 3-year deal for Backstrom. Let him and Ovi ride off into the sunset together. But by the time that deal is over with, he's going to be 37 years old at $9.6 million.
Yeah.
Now, they're counting on the cap going up with the new TV deal and all that. I understand that. I get that. But are you really that comfortable paying $9.5 million to a guy who's going to be 37?
As of right now,
And when you're going to have somebody else come in and replace him, that's the thing. You got Kuznetsov, and that's great. And hopefully he can just continue on his trajectory that he's on.
Yep.
All right? But then what? Lars Eller's a third line center.
Yes.
Nick Dowd's a third line center.
Yeah, probably.
Who's going to come in and who's going to? And I'm not trying to bust your chops. I'm just saying that this is exactly what the LA Kings did.
Yeah.
Exactly. Overpaid guys. The Hawks, to a real extent with their defense especially, did the same thing. I understand you want to stay in that window. You want that window to stay open as long as possible. But there's also reality, and there's reality of the salary cap era especially.
Yeah.
That you just can't do that anymore. If there was no salary cap, yeah, no problem. Pay the guy. Pay the man. He's helped you win a cup? Absolutely. But if you're going to handcuff your team down the road to get one or two really more good years, was it worth it?
I see your point, and this is where I say the team-friendly part comes. I'll give you 100% the fifth year is dangerous because of exactly what you're going through as a Kings fan. We're pushing it from LA, 3 consecutive years of just crying? Yeah, pretty much. So I'll definitely give you the 5. Where my point is, I think if he signs a 3-year deal, that's probably $11 or $12 million per year. It's going to be.
You think anybody else would give him that?
There's always somebody stupid. It doesn't matter what sport.
Yeah, but you know what? Any GM that's got half a brain in their head, is going to go, okay, is Nicholas Backstrom going to do this without Alexander Ovechkin hammering home 50 goals on his wing?
Sure, of course, with that. So,
like I said, I like Backstrom.
Yeah,
I do. I think he's a great player.
I do too.
But you also have to look at the context of the work, right? So if you're going to pay a guy past 30 years old, especially, that kind of dough, he'd better be able to do it pretty much on his own. And to be perfectly just frank and honest, Washington's a powerhouse.
Yes.
They're my favorite to win the Cup. Amazing talent on that team. But can they do it without each other?
I highly doubt it. I'll agree with that 100%. The ones that I think can do it by themselves is Ovechkin. He can do it pretty much anywhere. To a milder point, I would say that he's young, so I can't do it. But Jacob Vrana might be able to pull something out because he just keeps progressing year after year after year, and he's showing a lot of speed and a lot of skill on the ice. But you're right as far as the rest of the pieces is that they have to work together. But by getting Backstrom, now all these pieces are still working together. So they're still going to be a powerhouse all the way through this. I do worry 5 years down the road, even 4, because now you're looking at all these upper 30-year-old players that are now kind of like, sooner or later the body wears out. It's just not everybody's going to be like Yager and play till he's like what 80?
I know, right?
Like that, about 80.
He couldn't collect Social Security because he was still playing.
Exactly. That's how crazy it is. Not everybody's going to have that type of. Not only physical ability, but defying age, basically, that Yager had. So I get that in a few years, and that's going to be a nightmare because then they're going to be strapped, they're going to be bottom feeders, and there's not a lot they
can do. And then what's Ovi going to want?
Yeah, that's a very true. So
what's he going to want? And do you pay him? Do you pay him?
You have to pay him.
You absolutely pay him. You absolutely do. But at least when it comes to contracts, there's one coming off the books, and now with this deal with Backstrom, I guarantee it's happening, is Braden Holtby. I guarantee he's not coming back to Washington. There's no amount of money, big or small, that they can even offer him. And secondly, I don't think he deserves this next contract.
And I don't think Braden Holtby's going to get the money he thinks he's going to.
I don't agree. He's fallen apart the last few years. He's not the same guy that was up every year for awards, and you actually feared this guy. He makes me nervous now.
Sure.
Yeah, especially watching, Samsonov, the way he's
truthfully,
playing.
the year they won the Cup, he was making a lot of people nervous.
Yes.
Grubauer started their first playoff series.
Exactly. They started Grubauer, which got him a contract in Colorado.
Sure. And there's my point about goalies, too.
Yeah.
Got to be careful because Grubauer looked like he was the next big starter, right? Turns out Grubauer is more of a better 1B.
Yes. Yeah. He's
Colorado's finding that out the hard way.
Yeah, they leaned on him, and that was a mistake. So you're right. I don't think Braden Holtby's going to get the cash that he wants.
Now, wouldn't that be something if he ended up back in Colorado?
Oh, my God.
They got the space to do it.
They do, and Grubauer has shown he can't do it by himself. But it's I just know for a fact that he's not coming back to Washington because they don't have the money to pay him that type of cash.
They've been waiting to get Samsonov as a starter anyway.
Exactly, and they have a pretty decent pipeline down in Hershey as well that they can bring up one or two guys at any point just for that kind of filler for Samsonov in that case.
Do you want to talk about yesterday's game at all, or?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not going to break your balls with it because honestly, that was a very hard game. The Penguins looked good for the first 2 periods, and then that last period, once the Capitals remembered that they can use their grit and knock those guys around.
Yes.
Everything changed, man. And honestly, if that was to go like another 5 minutes, you might have saw a totally different outcome on that game.
Oh yeah.
They're just a much more physical. They're an aggressive team. They're gonna be there right till the end. There's no doubt about
Absolutely.
it.
And even with yesterday's game, actually the week in general was not the prettiest hockey by the Capitals. The 3 games that they played this past week, they had the Predators, I want to say Monday or Tuesday night. I could be wrong on the day. Friday they went to Ottawa, and then they had Pittsburgh yesterday.
Yeah.
The Predator game was just gross. It was poor on both sides of offensively and defensively. Goaltending was equally as bad. Thank you, Holtby, for that one. They kind of righted it a little bit against Ottawa, but they're a better team than that, and they kept that close. Had to come back yet again, which I'm getting very nervous about with that team. And then going to Pittsburgh, they give Samsonov another shot at Pittsburgh. It wasn't his fault they lost yesterday.
No.
I didn't look at I want to say 7 power plays for Pittsburgh. It might have been 8. I could be a little off on that.
You can't put Pittsburgh on the power play that much.
Even though, I mean,
they didn't score. I think they were 0 for 8.
I don't think they had a shot in their last two power plays.
No, the way they killed it was wonderful for Washington. They had an excellent penalty kill yesterday, but you still gave eight chances there. I mean, we're talking 16 minutes of penalty time.
That's 16 minutes you don't have your top lines out on you.
Exactly. That's damn near an entire period where you can't go full strength or even on your own power play, on your own attack. And it was rough to watch. So now you're putting more pressure on Samsonov to actually stop this. In the first 2 periods, there was a ton of shots. I want to say 28 through the first 2.
Yeah.
And then in the third, it definitely flipped the switch. But looking at the final stats, it looks like he had a poor game in the net. It's not the case.
No, he didn't
Washington did not all week did not look very good in any way, shape, or form. They didn't really show that killer instinct in any way. They were missing some easy passes, turnovers on their own ice too.
Those turnovers
really
in
bad.
the first period, I think,
and they led to the 2 goals.
Yeah.
They were real ugly too. And you give a team like Pittsburgh, who is playing very well this season, any extra chances, they're going to put it in the back of the net, and they did yesterday. Yeah. So that Washington, I'm not worried about. Everybody gets their slump. They'll right the ship at least a little bit, but yesterday's game was a little bit more frustrating because Samsonov, that was only his 3rd loss of the season, by the way, in 21 games.
It was like their first back-to-back at home, too, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
So
you'd much rather have the slump now than in April.
Exactly.
Very true.
That's
But, the good news is obviously, I was going to say you guys. I have to always remember this. You don't play for the team, Jamie. Washington, they get good production all up and down the line. So
for the first time, actually, in a little bit, I know there was some questions last year, especially on the 3rd and 4th line, a little bit to the penalty kill.
Yeah.
And they righted that a little bit with some of their free agent signings. They started it a little bit with like Nick Dowd last year. This year, kind of going after Panic and, even the trade to get Gudas.
Hathaway.
Thank you, Hathaway from Calgary.
Yeah, good thing they got Gudas because they needed to be a little more physical.
You know who that has helped those? Tom Wilson.
What's that?
That has so helped Tom Wilson.
Absolutely,
Wilson doesn't have to be that guy anymore. He can just,
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right, and you're seeing Wilson get less penalties. You're also seeing him get less suspensions by contrast as well. So he's a good.
I wonder if they put an incentive in his contract,
like stop it.
Hey, listen, if you keep it under 3 suspensions, we're going to give you $100,000 bonus.
Yeah,
like all right, I'll try.
Wow, 3.
Let's talk about buying somebody's behavior.
You're handcuffing me, guys. What are you doing?
I'm going to tell you, man. Though they can still clean some players out, and that
absolutely.
God, that 3rd period was so hard for me to watch. It looked like just bodies flying all over the damn place.
And even then, the Capitals missed probably, I want to say 2 absolutely almost easy chances.
Oof, that one.
Backstrom was one of them. He actually he gets a nice feed across ice, and he's right on the doorstep and literally just flips it directly across in front of the net. Yep. Murray was well out of position on that. That should have been buried, and he just missed it. It's That was the old fire wagon hockey, as our friend likes to say on that, our favorite broadcaster, if you will. Yeah. And it was all Capitals in that third period.
Yeah,
it really was, especially from about the 13-minute mark. It was nuts.
It's going to be interesting as the season winds down. There's no doubt that both those teams are going to be right in the thick of things.
Yeah.
And probably with the Capitals still controlling over there in the Metro.
And you know the beauty of it is that was only the first time that the Caps and Penguins played, and all season they haven't played in Pittsburgh or in Washington at any point. 3 weeks from yesterday, they're playing again in Washington, and then the other two in Pittsburgh are both in March. So all 4 games are in like a span of 6 weeks.
Yeah,
So,
you know,
It's going to be must-see TV right there.
absolutely. Somebody planned that correctly.
Oh, yeah.
that's what I was just going to say. Now we're going to talk a little bit about that in our third
Yes.
round here about the marketing tactics, whatever you want to call it, or probably the lack of quality marketing tactics that the NHL does. But I think they might have hit the nail on the head with that one, putting
For a change.
Yeah.
but putting making
That sounded
games.
different. What was that? Oh, that was actually a hammer hitting a nail head. Oh, wow. That's what that sounds like.
that we won. Yeah. So, but yeah. What do we got? Man, we've already killed a half hour. We got to take a little break here.
I will say just before we do go to break, I do like Washington better than Tampa Bay going down the road.
Yeah.
I do, and you want to know why? Because Washington's bottom 6 is better than Tampa Bay's bottom 6.
Yeah,
I know that Tampa Bay is the flavor of the month right now, and they're unbeatable again, and the whole works. But it's like we've talked about before on this show too. Washington's been to the top of the mountain. They play playoff hockey through the regular season and into the playoffs.
Yep.
All right, until Tampa Bay can prove that they can bang their way through a round, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, until they can prove that they're mentally tough enough to get through 4 rounds, my money's on Washington. I think we said this in the first show this season.
Oh yeah. We're always talking about it. When you get in the playoffs, you got to be able to grind.
Yeah.
And if you can't do it, you'll end up getting
Pretty
an
much.
early exit like last year.
Yeah, and it's besides the grind, it's also depth, and that's something that
Yeah.
even 2 years ago when the Caps won it, they didn't have the depth that they currently have.
Yeah.
Especially on the defensive pairings. They get Jonas Siegenthaler
Right.
coming up. He's been playing phenomenal all season, and this is a kid who's got like negative experience in the pros.
I think they could use one more defenseman.
I would agree with that, but at
think
least
they could.
At least with that, I feel a little bit more comfortable with their current pairings than I did say 2 years ago. When it got to the third pairing 2 years ago, I kind of got a little bit more nervous because it wasn't as strong,
Right.
So
It's funny because I got a buddy of mine, Ben Skibitsky. Hi, Ben. He's a big Capitals fan.
Nice.
And he's probably watching this right now. And he despises Nick Jensen.
oh my god,
He wants him gone.
Yeah.
Just trade him for a water bottle, anything. That's why I say I think that just listening to him, I think maybe the Caps could use one more defenseman just so they can maybe put him in the press box and.
yeah. So
He was serviceable at the time when they picked him up.
exactly, it was the same with like Michael Kempney, but I do like Kempney. I think he's a better fit there as far as it goes. But Jensen was fine for. I'll give you that as far as it goes. But I still, again, if you look back a few years ago, I wasn't as much of a fan once you got to the third pairing. It made me a little bit more nervous. But now I think they're a little bit more. At least a little more in depth, a little deeper than they were.
Actually,
years ago.
too, speaking of the Capitals' defense, who's actually having a really good under-the-radar year is Dmitry Orlov.
Yeah, he's
He's been overshadowed by everybody, but man, he's been
Exactly.
solid.
He's been able to play a little bit more physical, and it also comes back to that the Gudas thing.
Right.
It helps when you can kind of grind in the back end instead of having
Right.
Tom Wilson be your only enforcer out there.
Exactly.
They needed one more reason to get better, right?
Exactly, I'm okay with it.
Let's do our break here. Scott, trivia.
Yeah.
Yes.
We got some breakaway trivia.
Let's do your thing here.
Awesome. All right. So, anyways, breakaway trivia. You guys know the rules. I'm going to answer you a question. You got to answer the question correctly to score on me. Remember, I'm the goalie. You're on the breakaway. So, anyways, here's today's question. What team holds the record for having the worst season in NHL history? What team holds the record for having the worst season, record-wise, in NHL history? The answer when we come back.
Join us Saturday, February 8th through the Disruption Network 3-year anniversary party at the Jewish Community Center, 2310 Oneida Street in Utica, New York. Musical acts include Annie in the Water, acoustic performance by Haley Jane, Trampoline Jetstream, and Live Noah. Haley in the Water will cap off the night covering Fleetwood Mac's hit album, Rumors. Party kicks off at 6 p.m. There will be beer, wine, food from Doughboys Barbecue, and Holy Pozzoli. Saturday, February 8th. For tickets, visit our website, disruptionnetwork.net.
So you just bought your dream home, and now it's time to move. Let's face it, nobody likes to move. All the packing, unpacking, lifting, upstairs, downstairs, and broken everything, including your back. Let the professionals at EJA Moving Company take all the stress and pain out of your move. Competitively priced moving, relocation services, office moves, and complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everybody to make it simple and easy for you to move and relocate. Call EJA Moving Company at 315-335-0516. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. Hit them up online, ejamoving.com.
Want to know what's going on at the D? Hit up disruptionnetwork.net and check out our events calendar brought to you by the Events Co. Find out about upcoming guests, special events, concerts, show schedules, community activities, and more. Get connected at disruptionnetwork.net.
All right. And we're back, and here's your answer for Breakaway Trivia. I'm going to ask you the question one more time, just as a little refresher. And the question this week is, what team holds the record for having the worst season, record-wise, in NHL history? You guys know?
I don't have much of a clue. I was going to say like St. Louis.
Nope.
I would say that Detroit's off to a great start on that, but we'll say Winnipeg.
Nope.
No?
You know what? Since we've been building the Capitals up so much,
geez.
I'm going to take the needle and pop the balloon.
Really?
It's the Washington Capitals, the 1974-75 Washington Capitals.
Oh, my God.
The record for futility with a record of 8-67-5.
Thanks, Scott.
8 wins all year.
There, Jamie, take that.
But if it makes you feel any better, Jamie, that was their first year. So,
Yeah.
so there was only you could only go up.
Yes.
So there you go.
Inaugural season. But besides that, I wasn't born yet, so I'm okay with it. I'm actually all right with it.
So just think of how far you've gone. See?
Yes.
There's something to hang your hat on. See how far you come?
Yeah, see how far you come?
From that 8-win season?
You've got to watch 2 Stanley Cups in your life. One you won.
You'll get used to Scott here because Scott loves to throw those little like, "Hey, did you know your team sucked?" With that?
You know how great they are now. Watch this. Yeah.
Remember when they were dreadful? No, I'm going to remind you. Yeah, he's like that. You know, I was just looking and I was really hoping that Dave Bandage was going to be out there today. I think he's probably working. He'll tune in later. But he's been asking us for quite a number of weeks now if we can please talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's his team. Mm-hmm. And of course, they're hot. So probably not a bad time to talk about them anyways. They won again last night. And I'm taking a look here. They were on a 6-game winning streak. I know that. They got snapped on Saturday with that 2-1 loss against the Sabres. But, yesterday they defeated the let me see. Who did they defeat?
Was it Montreal?
Yeah, was it 4-3 Montreal? You're right. They're 17-2-5 since December 9th. That's 24 games. They're on a hell of a point streak.
Do you notice Columbus does this though?
They always do.
They're like Pittsburgh in that regard.
Yeah,
they go on this unbelievable streak, and all of a sudden,
But let me ask you. I mean, I think we said at the beginning of the season, we knew they were going to do this and come back, and they were going to be somehow involved at least in the things.
Well, a lot of people left him for dead too. After Panarin left town, after Bobrovsky left town,
yeah,
Duchesne is gone. You know, he was remember that big pickup that they had, which I'm sorry, I still think Matt Duchene's one of the most overrated players in the league, but
Thank
that's
you.
my opinion. Anyways, sorry, Matt Duchene, didn't mean to throw that dig in at you, but
You didn't think they'd come in as like a wild card or something? It seems
I
to
didn't.
me- No?
I didn't. I tell you, this season, though, overall, if John Tortorella isn't at least a finalist for the Jack Adams Award, there's
Gotta
something
be.
severely wrong
I agree.
because it's his system that's making this work. Really. I mean, they don't really have any superstars per se. Cam Atkinson's back, which is nice for them. It's kind of funny. Everybody kind of laughed at them. What was it, 3 years ago when they took Pierre-Luc Dubois at number 3 overall? They're like, oh, who's that guy?
Paying now.
That's what he is. He's your number one center.
Absolutely is.
And he's a physical guy. He's one of those solid 200-foot players, all right? So he's not going to put up 100 points in a year. But when you need him, he's there. Okay?
I feel like a lot of their players that are starting to, what do I want to say, emerge, that are really, contributing on it. About 2016, 15, 2016.
Yeah.
That's
You know.
so, yeah.
And I'll tell you, Zach Werenski is one of the straws that stirs this drink, too.
Absolutely.
You could, that it's not a coincidence that when he came back is when this whole winning streak started. Because remember, he was out for like November and part of October. So once he came back, all of a sudden the team comes to life. And then Corpusalo went down with an injury and was like, oh, that's it. Good times are coming to an end because he has been. I kind of tend to think he's been overachieving a little bit this year. He's a good goaltender, but I don't know if he's putting exactly Vezina numbers like he has been. But Elvis entered the building.
yes.
Elvis Merzlikins.
Thank you for pronouncing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Elvis entered the building. So he played in the Swiss League, and he was well known all over Europe. They were like, oh, yeah, he's the next big thing. And over here in North America, kind of like, who? Huh? And he finally came over, and maybe he is that good. I think that's going to be a nice 1-2 tandem for him going forward. So you can take Columbus off the teams or list of teams that were going to trade for a goaltender at the trade deadline. Because remember, that was the big rumor.
That was the question.
They were going to be in play for one. Well, they don't need to be now.
One of the things, obviously, when they traded, like you said, Panarin, and then they let go of Bobrovsky. I can never say his freaking
There you go.
Bobrovsky.
Just Bob.
Yeah, when they let go of Bob. I look at that now. Do you think they regret that, like leaving it all? I know that Panarin wanted to go play in a bigger market. I get that, but at the same time, that's a team that is obviously they're right there. They've been right there.
No on either one because Bobrovsky famously did not get along with Tortorella.
Okay, all right.
And, Christmas Day when it was 20 degrees in Columbus and he woke up in Florida and
Yeah,
it
I'm
was
sure that
80
was nice.
outside of his door, I'm sure that really helped him get over it too.
Yeah.
And Panarin, of course, he made it known he wanted out, so there's no regrets out of Panarin whatsoever. And, like with Panarin, he's already won a Stanley Cup, so, he got... And actually, if he'd have stayed in Columbus, he could have got more money because Columbus was offering him more money, and so was the Islanders.
Well, and that's
The Islanders offered him more.
yeah.
And he just made it known. I want to play on Broadway. That's where I want to be.
I mean, I guess it's good in that regards, but you're leaving a legitimate contender to go to the Rangers.
Yeah.
Never miss an opportunity to take a quick jab at
Yeah. Well, hey, remember the rebuild was over this year. That's it. We got Trouba. We got Fox. Capo Caco is going to score 35 goals for us.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. How'd that work out?
I'm sure somewhere and like out there, everybody's going, screw this show. They're going to start taking jabs at the Ranks again.
Yep. There it comes.
So, but you would leave a legitimate contender to go to them, and also at the same time making less money. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
See, where you said legitimate contender, that's the funny thing. Because if you listen to anybody last season, when the impending doom that was free agency was coming up for both Panarin and Bobrovsky, see, I can say it. Everybody pretty much said if they can't sign at least one of them, they're pretty much dead. I mean, Scott already alluded to that in the beginning of his analysis there, that a lot of people wrote this team off. And if you look at that, from the first line all the way down, there's not many household names, if anything. I guess if you're a hockey fan, Werenski's the one that would probably stick out the most.
And Cam Atkinson's quietly been a 30-goal scorer for the past 3-4 years.
Yes, but he's definitely not a household name.
Quietly, exactly.
Exactly. Very, very quiet.
Well, none of these guys are household.
Exactly my point. So
the
I think that's why a lot of people wrote them off. But what they've done, you've already mentioned him, Pierre-Luc Dubois. He's used the eye test on this kid. he's one of the best damn young players in the NHL, and I don't think anybody knows that because he's in Ohio, and that's one of the problems. He's only 21 years old, for crap's sake, and he's already a first-line center and really stepping up for that. And you've already mentioned both goaltenders. They have a happy problem right now.
Sure they do.
Two 25-year-old goaltenders that are playing pretty much MVP, well, Vezina level.
Yeah.
Goalies don't generally win the MVP there, but Vezina level netminding there. They have two of them, so they have a great problem to have.
You know who they sort of remind me of? The Islanders last year.
A little bit, yeah.
It's the system. It's the system that's winning.
Yep.
And quietly.
Yeah. But even then, what they do need, though, they might need an extra offensive piece, if anything, because outside of just the few that we've mentioned, I don't really see too many major, we'll say 30 goal scorers or even mid-20s.
Right.
There's a lot of teens in there.
Well, they need something for the power play. The power play is in the bottom half.
Yeah.
And the only problem is they gave up a lot of draft picks bringing in Duchesne last year, bringing in Ryan Dzingel. So,
let me ask you, because I was kind of alluding it to before. The Metro is kind of a mess. It's a sticky mess. Those teams go back and forth. And actually, I should say the entire East is always a little bit crowded, especially during playoff times. There's a couple teams in there that I think could really make some noise. And I'm still waiting for the Flyers, man. The Flyers been kind of hanging around the middle of the pack. But can you see this team? They just went over the Islanders, take that number 3 spot.
I don't think they're going to finish in the top 3.
You don't?
They're a wild card team.
Okay.
They're a wild card team, but we're going to have to see when this wave ends. Are they going to go the complete opposite, or are they going to kind of level off?
You mean bottom out after the
right?
I get you.
So I mean, this has been an amazing streak they've been on, but if they in turn lose 5 games in a row after this, they're right back where they started.
Yeah,
because that East is just so tight that you can't afford to go really on any kind of an extended pointless streak. So if they can even play like 500 hockey the rest of the way out, they're going to make the playoffs as a wild card.
Yeah. As
a wild card. But on the flip side, and this doesn't just apply to Columbus. This applies to any team in the East right now.
Yeah.
You go on a 6-7 game streak where you're just god-awful. Can't get a point to save your lives, you're out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is a logjam all the way from top to bottom for the most part. I'm actually with you on that. I think Columbus probably hangs around. I think they have enough to hang around. But they're catching lightning in a bottle pretty much top to bottom at this point. It's very tough to maintain that, and especially as we said with the Capitals, Columbus has a very similar schedule where a lot of their competition for those playoff spots are coming up over the next 6 weeks or so. So that's going to be one. They have to maintain that tightness, I guess you can say, in the East overall. Otherwise, they're going to be in a lot of trouble, and they're going to get jumped over by one of these other teams that are playing just as well, or at least going on to that streak.
Yeah. And I think that's going to be a big thing with them in the Isles for a while.
Yeah, that's going to be leapfrog for at least a couple weeks. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
But once they get into the playoffs, if they get in the playoffs, I should say, then
anything can happen.
Yeah, and they're a grinder team.
They're a grinder team. I wouldn't be as confident going into the playoffs in them as I was last year.
Yeah,
remember how I told you they were going to beat Tampa Bay?
Yeah,
and it was because of Bobrovsky. You never bet against a 2-time Vezina winner. You just don't.
Yeah, they have
the style that they played. Yep. That was a recipe for disaster for Tampa. Yep. This year, I don't have that kind of confidence in either Korpisalo or Milzilkins. Maybe they can, like you just said, catch lightning in a bottle. I doubt it. But this is also going to be a dangerous team going forward, just because of the style of play the style of game that they play.
Right.
They're a playoff type of team. That's the style they play. That grind you down. That in your face, they're not going to be flying all over the ice and dazzling you with these amazing passes and sniping and this and that. But when it comes right down to it, don't get too close to the boards against these guys either.
Oh, they got some stuff. Put you into the dashers.
Exactly.
That's how they're going to play.
That's pretty much it. That's a big reason why there's not a lot of goals scored, but they're not giving up a lot either. It's not the most entertaining hockey if you're just a separate. Well, it really isn't, but it is.
Like the Capitals we talked about before, Columbus is great at shot suppression.
Yeah.
They're both top 5 in shots against.
Yep.
So It's Tortorella's way. And he's 110%. You don't give 110%. I don't care who you are. You're on the bench.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, some people hate him for that, but hey, you know what? The guy gets results.
Well, that's what we've talked about for 2-3 seasons now about the torts
Torch
the system.
team, the torch system.
Where everybody's got to be on. Everybody's buying in. I mean, everybody blocks shots. Everybody does everything. I mean, it's.
Exactly.
It's like old school hockey. There's something nice about being pure, I guess, to the roots of the game, and that's exactly what he's doing. That is old school. It's not this flashy stick handling crap where they try to go end to end and between the legs and fire one in. Nope, they dump it in, they grind the crap out of it, and then they just keep passing until they can find an open lane and let one rip. It might take 12 minutes, but it's still going to get done. It's slow. It's kind of methodical. It's slow, and that's just how they are. But they put it on Tampa last year, which also I called that too. I wasn't on the show with you, but I have a Tampa Bay Lightning fan that I work with, and she wouldn't stop. And I went, "They're not. I don't even think they're going to win a damn game in the series." She's like, "You're kidding, right?" I said, "No, it's just because you're annoying me." But I think Columbus is winning, and we all know what happened.
I do remember you telling me that story too.
Yes, I could. I was like, I don't like Tampa at all, and this is a terrible matchup, and it showed. And Tampa was a little too soft for Columbus, especially for that grinding type of play. And there you go. It shows. So once the playoffs start, if they get another similar matchup like that, where they get another team that's a little bit more speed and finesse as opposed to being able to grind with them, they can go another round with somebody, with one of the bigger ones, and wipe them out. Well, see why not?
But the thing is, like I said, with them finishing the wild card, they're probably going to end up getting Boston, Tampa Bay, or Washington in the first round.
Tampa, I still think has the same problem that they had last year, and I think Columbus can take them. Boston and Washington are a little bit more physical. If they fall even further and they end up in like the Carolina range, it depends on what Carolina ends up doing to finish up. That is a dangerous team for Columbus to play because they're very similar.
Mm-hmm. But it's funny. Just going back to Torch real quick.
Yeah,
you know how we were talking about how he's demands 110% all the time and all that.
Oh yeah.
You know who else? One of the coaches they used to say the same thing about was Scotty Bowman, one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Absolutely.
And it's funny. They were saying that Scotty Bowman hated him 364 days out of the year. Couldn't stand him. Didn't even want to look at him.
Loved him on the Stanley Cup.
They raised the cup though. They loved him.
Yeah.
They absolutely loved the guy. So
everything made sense at that point.
Exactly. It's like Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. Why am I waxing this car again? You'll see.
You'll see when you hold that thing. Yeah.
I could understand that though, man. I mean, if you're one of these guys who's like a big name, and all of a sudden you're asking them, "I need you to get down and block some shots." Like, hell no.
Well, you know what though? Look at even modern era. Look at your past Cup winners of this decade.
Yeah.
Right. Daryl Sutter was a taskmaster. Mm-hmm. Same with Joel Quenneville. All right. Last year, Berube, known tough guy. He's tough on his players, right? Barry Trotz.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing.
Absolutely.
It's not always the nicest guy in the room that gets the job done.
No, you're right.
Of course, there's going to be times where they hate this guy, but,
you look at it.
Do you want to win the cup or don't you?
It's about results.
Exactly.
It's always about results.
You look at the exact opposite, which they always say, like, that's a player's coach where they're friends with everybody in the
Oh,
line.
Yep.
And those are the teams that just bottom right out.
Even if they have a nice regular season, they're like, we all love him. We all love him. He's a player's coach. He's a player's coach. And then you get swept.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's it.
Well, once the frustration starts coming out and, everybody's looking at each other in the room, you don't have your coach telling you things like, I don't care who the hell you are, get in there and do your job.
Yeah.
They don't do that. And all of a sudden,
right.
I mean, yeah, there's a recipe for disaster.
Yep.
We were going to take a break. I'm going to tell you what. I don't even think we're going to because we only got about 10 minutes left in the show.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
But I want to jump over to our
life's good when you're having fun.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
I want to
good
jump
times
over
roll.
to our final topic here, and we were joking earlier about one of the only good moves that the NHL can do. I truly believe that this is one of the best days for the NHL. The day after the Super Bowl. You know why? It's the time when everybody starts defecting from football and they start realizing, like, well, I got another 4 months here. Guess I'll go to hockey. And that's the truth. I mean, I don't blame it. We all know hockey is a great sport. Mm-hmm. But the sad truth about it is they just don't get the exposure. They're never on TV. I mean, we've talked about this at N. Even if you have the NHL package, sometimes you're not getting the
Right.
NHL games,
which is ridiculous.
and it's if they make it almost impossible for a fan to truly watch their team. It's a pain in the ass, and I think now, with the teams being a little more focused, obviously they're going in the second half of the season. Football's done. Everything's going to start hitting, and I totally expect the hockey season, as you will,
Right.
to pick up. But I mean, what is up with this? I don't understand why the NHL has such a hard time with their own product. I don't get it.
They've been like that for years.
But they don't learn. That's
No.
the problem.
No, they never will either. But you know what I think that the NHL really needs to do?
Mm-hmm.
There are so many people out there that are potential new fans that simply don't understand the game.
Right.
Because the game, if you don't know hockey, it's very hard to follow on TV.
Yeah.
You actually have to go to a live game and have somebody basically explaining it to you the entire game. Once you got somebody that, once you get that, usually people are like, oh, okay, now that makes sense. So, I mean, to me, and I've always ranted and raved about this with the NHL Network, it's useless.
Yeah.
They play on the fly, 10 times in a row,
Yeah.
and then it's NHL Tonight,
Yes.
and they don't do
Now.
anything new.
No. They
Right? So what they really need, and they do have this, it's on Saturday mornings. What's it called? On the Ice or something, where it's almost like a little instructional type of thing. They need to do more of that kind of stuff. A show to explain the game, even if you do it like in cartoon form, because cartoons always seem to be. Remember Peter Puck back in the 70s and all that, right?
But still, I wasn't born yet.
But the point being
But I watch
is
cartoons still,
Right.
and I'm
And I
37 years
mean-
old. So
South Park's still going strong, so people
Yeah.
like cartoons,
do.
So they need to really kind of have some kind of I don't want to say educational series. That sounds too much like school, but
I
something
get
to
where
help
you're going with it. Yeah.
to help people understand the game and what's going on.
Well, right along with that, I think you have to stop changing the damn rules every 5 minutes.
That's the other thing. They overcomplicated everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so complicated now. It's like just offsides is offsides.
Right. Well, the other thing is, and I noticed this with a lot of people who don't follow hockey, is we'll do like the overtime 3-on-3, right? And then you get in the playoffs, and it's not that format anymore.
Yes.
Right.
And people go, well, wait a minute, what happened to the 3-on-3, and how come there's no shootout? And you go, well, that's just for the season.
Right.
Like, why do we even do that if you're not going to carry it over into the playoffs? It's like a totally different game. It really is.
Although I got to tell you, there would be a complete mutiny, including me, if they went to that 3-on-3 in the playoffs.
no,
Oh, no,
they
I'm not saying
shouldn't.
that.
They should go the other way.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
They
they
should go
should
back to 5-on-5.
Amen.
And I certainly don't see what's wrong with having a tie. What's wrong with a tie? Because you know what? Soccer is one of the biggest sports in the world.
Yeah.
All right? And they have ties all the time.
Yeah, and that was the
Oh, well,
the most
they tied.
was
Okay.
most of the 80s and 90s right there.
Right.
Ties.
Well,
you know?
Exactly.
You figure too. I mean, just think of the scoring system, and I love the NHL. I love what they do, everything. But even I have a hard time following sometimes when I'll look and I'll be like, all right, so wait a minute, that's an overtime loss, but they got the point. And like, why do you do that?
Yeah.
Just like you said, a win is a win, a loss is a loss, and if you end in a tie, great. Then
So be it.
Yes.
So be it.
Instead of complicating the crap out of the scoring system and everything else.
You know why? Because the NHL wants its game to be like a video game. They're so desperate to cater to the younger crowd and all that, in video games, there's no ties. They got to have these astronomical numbers all the time. But to me, all this shootout and loser point and all that, all it did was just basically phonyize, I guess the best way, records now.
Yeah.
It's phony. You take teams from the past, say like Edmonton, the Oilers of the 80s, and played them in this era,
Oh,
where they could have gone to 3-on-3 and shootouts.
Yeah.
You think they would have ever lost?
no.
You know?
Well, that's something about this.
I mean, give me yeah, sure. Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, and Paul Coffey out on a 3-on-3.
Forget it.
Just don't even just give them the points. Just be done. Yeah.
I think one of those was pretty good, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they're not all in the Hall of Fame.
No, not at all.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and that's the other.
I heard of that Gretzky guy.
Yeah,
Is that what you
just
say?
a bum,
I've heard
you know?
him once or twice
he's a
before.
bum.
A flash in the pan.
He'll never amount to nothing.
Oh God.
But yeah, I mean, and in those games, you're totally catering to like the finesse players. You really are.
Which is fine to a point. I mean, because hockey's a very exciting game, and there is certainly a place for the speed and the skill. Absolutely,
Sure.
absolutely.
But
don't make it so
5-on-5 too.
But don't make it so phony that it just, I don't know.
Hockey is already lightning fast. There's no need to make it faster, which is what you're trying to do with 3-on-3. And that is like that arcade style, like the old arcade NBA jams.
Yeah.
Blitz and things like that.
He's on fire.
Exactly. That's almost what they're trying to do, which is hilarious because the game itself is hard enough to follow because of the speed. A lot of times, as Scott was saying, if you don't really know the nuances of the game or you don't understand even the basic rules, it's very tough to follow. But if you understand it, you know it's still very fast.
Yeah.
You can't see the puck sometimes because they're just. I mean, these guys are very good. They're professional athletes, for crap's sake. So, but by going to 3-on-3, you're trying to make it an arcade game, which makes no sense because you're not speeding anything up. Well, you are trying to speed it up, but why? It's not fast enough for you. So I don't
No, that
get it.
scoring's up anyway.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, the other thing about it too is, and I think one of the reasons why they originally said they were putting the 3-on-3 into the way they're playing the game now, is because they wanted to have those games end on time and not wear down the players and everything else. And the players were complaining that those overtime games could
You know what, though?
suck it up.
Exactly. Now they're getting weeks off at a time.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, guys, seriously,
This whole All-Star break has been horrible. It's been absolutely.
it's killed momentum.
It's the entire week.
Yeah,
It's the entire 2 weeks, though, because you had the bye weeks in there, too.
That's true. So
They might as well just give everybody the same bye week, shut the league right down for a week.
Yes.
Shut it down. Forget it. We're on vacation this week. We'll see you next week. Seriously.
we're done.
Well, I just don't understand the logic of making us not have hockey for 4 days.
Yeah,
Because that's the All-Star break, right?
Yeah.
And then they come back. Oh, there's 3 games on the docket because everybody else is on their bye week.
right, and you're like
Wait, I've been waiting. Come on, and,
right in the middle of the freaking season.
Yeah.
and now you're starting,
doing?
playoff races are starting to get tight. You're starting to think about trade deadlines, and then 2 games.
Yeah, let's think about it.
Wow.
A little more.
Hey.
Yay!
It doesn't make sense to me. And the other part of this conversation is obviously, like we were saying, they're really, really bad. The NHL is horrible at marketing their product.
Yeah.
As a Penguins fan, Jamie, you and I were talking about this.
Yeah, I was
We're
about to go. Yeah.
We're in similar boats here with the
Yes.
Capitals and with the Penguins.
Yes.
A lot of those games are on NBC.
Yep. NBC, NBCSN, and ESPN Plus, as we talked about yesterday, which is now part of my Disney package and everything.
Yes.
Right.
And NBC Sports, I think, is the...
Exactly. Yeah. So, but that's what we were talking about yesterday. That's where it's really funny because I looked into getting the NHL package a couple years back. And I'm like, you know what? I want to see every single minute of every single game. I do it with baseball. I'm an Oakland A's fan. That's a West Coast thing. So I do it and I can watch it at any time. And it records in Stevie Yard and I can just watch every single friggin' game. It's great.
Yeah.
When I looked into the NHL thing, they had some fan, feedback about is it worth it? And it showed that if you are a fan of the Capitals, the Penguins, at the time Nashville, Vegas was another big one, there's no point because between NBC, NBCSN, and ESPN Plus, they're already televising between 50 and 60 of those games
Right.
anyway.
Yeah.
So
Stupid.
why would you pay? I think that at the beginning of the season it was $130. Maybe you can.
It was 140 if you paid it up front.
140
And then it's 25 per month if you want to do the monthly plan.
$25.
It's 25 a month starting in September and it goes through April.
Yeah.
Wow, thanks.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Thanks for the discount. By comparison, my baseball package is $109, and that's 162 games. And that's every game that I want to watch,
Now, here's another big problem with that, too. Okay, I understand with the new TV deal, it's most likely going to be NBC and ESPN sharing, which is great.
Right.
But you have some of the game's most marketable stars playing in Canada. You know how many times the Oilers have been on NBCSN? Twice.
Oh.
You know how many times the Maple Leafs have been on NBCSN? Twice. You got right now, the Battle of Alberta is back.
Yeah.
I mean, the other
Oh
night
my
they
God.
had goalies fighting.
That was
These
awesome.
two teams
That was
hate
the
each other.
greatest thing I've
Again,
seen in
they
a long time.
despise each other.
Yeah.
And you know what? Nobody outside of the Western time zone in Canada knows about it
Yeah, you're right.
because they just won't push it.
Yeah.
I mean, how is it that you got Connor McDavid in Edmonton, who's considered this generation's Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
You never have him on American TV. Of course, they don't know who Connor McDavid is.
Yeah, they're never going to get an opportunity to see him.
I mean, my God, you got Austin Matthews in Toronto, the big city of Canada. Really, I mean, it's kind of like they're New York City. Right across the border. Really, you never market it.
And that's
why.
And that again, that's the future of your freaking game.
And yeah, exactly. You got the Hockey Hall of Fame, which is another great attraction right there in Toronto. You could just package the crap out of
Yeah.
that.
They don't-
No, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait, we got to show Philly and Boston again for the 17th time in 2 years.
Yeah,
Because
wonderful.
that's what America's tuning into.
No, they're not.
Yeah, wow. Great, thanks.
And if you wanted to play the speed of hockey in your favor, if you're the NHL, why the hell didn't you play Calgary a lot last year? It was the fastest team I've seen on ice last year, and granted they didn't have the greatest of playoff runs, but still they were fun as hell to watch. Same with the Stars, that was a fun one to watch. With the Blues, of course, coming from rags to riches.
You know who else has got a really good young core coming up, and you never hear from Vancouver.
Vancouver's got a great
and you
young
probably
squad.
never will.
Yeah.
Quinn Hughes would be a great marketable guy, and I hate to be that guy that's picks by countries and all that, but if you're trying to get the audience bigger in the American market, Quinn Hughes is an American defenseman.
Absolutely.
Yes, he is.
Lighten it up.
Absolutely.
They don't.
He plays in Canada, so we're not going to. Yeah,
I
don't worry
don't
about
know
it.
why they don't see that.
Why?
You know what drives me nuts too is honestly.
And they were Brock Besser plays in.
Well, here's what's crazy. You're mentioning Vancouver, which is our local affiliate. The Utica Comets. It's our affiliate in Central New York, an American thing. So if you were starting to play Vancouver, and even on Eastern markets, think of the viewership that we'd give.
Sure.
Because we just saw these guys 2 weeks ago playing in Utica down the street.
Yeah.
It's not like the Canadians where their AHL affiliate is Laval, which is in the same freaking country. So it's different. But this is a Canadian team on the West Coast playing in an Eastern New York, Central New York market. Mm-hmm. I'd love to watch them play in the NHL.
Yeah.
They're never on.
Yeah.
I can go down
Exactly.
go down the street and watch these friggin' guys tomorrow or when their next game is. But
You're not going to see them after
but
that.
I can't see their professional progression after this.
Nope.
Yeah.
It's a terrible idea. But
You can
no
see them
variety.
when they come on NBC for the one game they'll play this year.
Exactly.
That's
yeah.
about it.
If they get
Well,
the
that's
one.
why they.
Yeah.
You know what? And that's why the NHL desperately needs to get back onto ESPN.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because ESPN shows NBA games like almost every night of the week. Same
That's
thing.
their darling.
TNT, the works.
Yeah, the NBA and ESPN are so in bed with each other.
It's
ridiculous.
insane.
Well, think about it. What else have they got?
Yeah.
You got the NBA and you got college basketball during the winter when here's your prime time.
Oh yeah.
Right here.
This is what I was going to say. I said, you know what really drives me nuts? If you go to ESPN, if you're watching like their Sports Center or anything like that, they have the ticker that goes across the bottom of the screen.
Right.
You'll notice that they'll repeat like college football, NFL, NBA, MLB. Everything goes across the ticker. And like maybe every third or fourth time, then all of a sudden NHL sneaks in there. Usually right about the time they're about to go to commercial break, and they cut it.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, well, I waited all that
Great, yeah.
friggin' time to see them come across on the ticker, and now I got to wait again.
But you know what's hilarious is that the NHL thinks that the next big thing is to be in the front lines of the betting parlors there and all that.
Yeah.
Who bets on hockey?
Nobody.
Except for when you get to the playoffs, say, okay, I'll take Columbus at 50-1 odds.
Yeah, but
maybe on a
regular season
one-off.
games,
Yeah.
nobody.
But it's and I get it because I get my notifications on my phone.
Yeah.
Well, the Kings are playing the Canucks tonight, and Vancouver's favored by 1.5 goals.
Thanks.
Yeah, wow, great, awesome.
Yeah.
I'll take that right
What's
to
the over/under?
Yeah. I'm going to take that right to the casino.
Yeah, exactly.
Appreciate it,
Yeah, and then they're going to look at you and see like, who? What?
What's hockey?
Yeah, hold on. I got to go. I got to get into the other screen here. Wait a minute.
Well, Jamie and I were talking about this yesterday. If you go on the app, and I know we've mentioned this on this show
Yeah,
before
yeah.
too. If you go on the app, you look at all the sports that they have on there. It'll say like, obviously, football, basketball. I mean, they'll go down the whole thing. Then all of a sudden, it's like other sports, and you got like auto racing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Soccer, table tennis, horse, all the way down, and then finally, like, oh, here's hockey.
Yeah.
That was actually the story that I was telling you yesterday because I went on my app and of course, the big game for football was yesterday. So, football.
Yeah.
And then it went to basketball, and then I just kept scrolling down. As I'm scrolling, then baseball. I'm like, okay. And the next one was friggin' tennis, which I thought was great. I'm like, all right, so tennis. They had a tournament this weekend that's pretty big, I guess. So, okay, whatever. After tennis, it was horse racing. And all right, well, what's next? Then it was a friggin' friendly match for soccer. Friendly. So
Of course it was.
it's a glorified scrimmage.
Right.
And there's stats all over the place on that. When I got to the bottom of the list, this is after college football, which isn't even in season till July for their training camps, and college basketball, I hit hockey.
Yeah.
And the only reason it's even on my app is because, of course, I have the Capitals as one of my teams.
Well,
And it's still last.
Taking a second seat to like lawn jarts and things.
Yeah, well, and but that's the
Here comes
point, though.
equestrian for you.
What was I just talking about? They should do some kind of like educational show.
Yeah.
To teach people, you know what? That would be great for like ESPN too.
Yeah.
Think about it. Instead of the Johnsonville ACL Cornhole Challenge,
That's
you can have
The worst part
right?
is that's actually a thing.
And that's I'm not to make that up. It's true, right? And the thing is the NHL does not play well with others.
yeah. I don't
They
understand.
don't. You know, they have this hubris about them,
Yeah, they do.
right? So if you really think about it, I mean, we've talked about this. We beat this to death as far as they do a terrible job of pushing women's hockey. Terrible, which is actually growing despite the NHL. Okay? If they were smart, they would come up with some kind of partnership with the KHL, which is the European version of the NHL. Not quite as good, but hey, you know what? It'd be nice to have a different perspective on things, right? There's things out there like deck hockey. You know, like we were playing the floor hockey.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You know, they could actually get a hand in on helping maybe grow that a little bit because let's face it, part of hockey's problem is not everybody in America can skate.
Right.
Okay? And it's very expensive. It's a very expensive sport to play. But if you make it to the point where, hey, all I got to do is be able to walk, I can at least play this kind of hockey. And, geez, if the NHL's like endorsing it and all that, hey, you know what? This is my hockey. So I'll watch a game, sure. You know, because why not?
Yeah.
I'm playing this hockey anyway, so boom. And hey, the Buffalo Sabres are, you know, one of our sponsors or something like that. Okay, great. So, but they don't do that. I mean, they say they're, you know, to grow the game. Well, truly grow the game then.
Yeah.
Don't just stay in your own markets and say, oh, yeah, well, look, we did this for our neighbors here. And no, grow it.
Yeah. If you're going to do it,
Go
do
to places where hockey isn't. Yeah. And it's not just, you know, cities. Go all over the
It's
the
not
country.
just
you know?
Boston.
Exactly. You know, I don't get it.
Even the mention with deck hockey, as you just said, for the most part, any marketing guru that steps into any franchise like this, like even the NHL, the first thing that they look at is how do we get, we'll say, the lower income, inner city kids to join on this. Hockey's massively expensive. My nephew all play it. It's ridiculous how much this costs every year. Not only just the leagues, but of course the gear, growing and whatnot. So if you were to take a deck hockey thing where all you really need is all we needed was some gloves and a stick.
Yeah.
And that was
Shin guards, elbow pads. I mean, for kids, you're looking at shin guards, elbow pads, and a helmet.
Absolutely. Even then, I mean, we're older and stupid. When we played, we were just like, screw it, just give me the gloves.
Give me the stick.
Yeah, just give me the
Exactly.
stick. I don't even think we had gloves. And then we just walked in there like, I'll take one off the finger. I don't care.
I didn't need that tooth. Yeah.
But all you need is sneakers, which everybody, generally speaking, should have in this case. But it's a less expensive alternative to regular ice hockey. But you still get to learn the game and be involved in the game. And especially if the NHL is kind of endorsing this, you might be able to get, instead of a cornhole league, how the hell this is that popular to where there's leagues now.
Yeah.
You can get a deck hockey league that maybe you put on ESPN 2 or 3 or something like that.
You want to know why
It's still
cornhole's
do that.
popular? Anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Anybody can do it.
Yeah, then so why not deck hockey? I've never been able to skate, and when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, we were playing deck hockey as part of our intramurals at my elementary school. So
Listen, guys,
why not?
I'm going to tell you honestly. You know what? Even the hot dog eating contest gets
more
love
viewership,
on
yeah.
ESPN.
Axe throwing. They actually had axe throwing on there. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wait a minute. Axe throwing is on ESPN2. We can't get more hockey? This is insane.
No.
Exactly. So, and you mentioned the contest. Everybody on the planet knows Kobayashi and Joey Chestnut.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Every single person knows those two names. Probably put the face right to them.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's see some names we've talked about. Does anybody know Pierre-Luc Dubois?
Not as
No.
much as Joey Chestnut.
No. He sounds French.
Yeah. yeah. Is he a designer?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have a jacket made by him. Yeah.
My girlfriend's got a bag.
Yeah, she's got like 9 purses.
to Dubois collection.
Exactly. Like that's the guy, right? You know, like.
Oh my God! Listen, I'm looking at the time. We already went over, so we got to save some conversation for another day.
Okay.
But Jamie, listen, man, it's been a blast having you on.
I always love doing this one. It's fun.
Yes.
I love getting away from football and doing a little bit, out of my wheelhouse, I guess you can say.
Hey,
doing
listen,
some hockey.
I know that you are on a million different things. And he took the day off to recover from the
Super. I thought I was going to have the old Irish flu, and when I walked in, I have my coffee, which is gone, and Masucci goes, "So you got the Irish flu?" I'm like, "No, I'm totally fine." And then you strolled in.
Yeah. Well, you know what the funny part is?
does.
I was actually thinking about biting the hair of the dog like you're doing.
Yeah.
But now I got to get my taxes done this afternoon.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And I actually did that once. I went back in my younger days. I did my tax return drunk once.
I'm sure that worked.
It did not work out
Yeah.
because I got the nasty gram from the IRS saying, "No, you're not getting $900 back. You actually owe $1,500."
Oh my God.
Yeah, I did. It was terrible.
I thought I had.
I was
it
like,
right.
never again. Me and my buddy decided it was gonna be a good idea to get a 30-pack and do our taxes. True
Probably a
story.
bad idea. If you go that route, make
Bad
sure
idea.
you take your shoes off so you can count higher.
Oh my God, it was awful. I was all happy, and of course we didn't do our taxes at the start of the 30-pack. No, we played some PlayStation. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we gotta get our taxes done." Oh, the box is halfway
man.
empty. That's all right. Don't worry about it.
Oh yeah, that's why we came over here.
Oh man, this is great. I've never got this much back in my life. This is awesome. Yeah, wrong.
Oh my God. Anyways, Jamie, please stop over and
Absolutely.
do the show whenever you get a chance. We'd love to have you back.
Sure.
Yoshi's coming back in 2 weeks, so he won't be there. Is it going to be me and you again?
Could very well be.
It'd be just us two.
Yeah,
we might
I'm not
have
off
to go
next
Tuesday
Monday.
next week too, because I think I got to work Monday.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah, I'm not off next Monday, so I can't help you.
Tuesday?
Huh? Looks like we might be going Tuesday then.
We'll figure it out, man. Our schedule's all over the place. But anyways, and yeah, we'll talk more about when we're gonna.
Yeah.
We'll post something on the website if we do have to change the date. I know that happens with us quite a bit, but hey, that's what.
It is what it is.
Anyways, I'm Rich Masucci, and for Jamie and for Scott, enjoy the games, and we will check you out next time. Yes.
All right. See ya.
Later.
So you just bought your dream home, and now it's time to move. Let's face it, nobody likes to move. All the packing, unpacking, lifting, upstairs, downstairs, and broking everything, including your back. Let the professionals at EJA Moving Company take all the stress and pain out of your move. Competitively priced moving, relocation services, office moves, and complete packing and unpacking services. They work with everybody to make it simple and easy for you to move and relocate. Call EJA Moving Company at 315-335-0516. When it's time to relocate, have EJA Moving do all the work for you. Hit them up online, ejamoving.com.
Want to know what's going on at the D? Hit up Disruption